What is the motivator? What's the reason for doing anything that you do? What do you want? I remember having a conversation with a man about, he was asking me, it's like, what motivates you? Pleasure or pain? And at the time, I replied, pain. But I still think that it's a combination of both. It's kind of like, I guess, whichever one is greater, you know? But this is probably going to be relative to each person because everybody's going to have their own opinions about it. But like, I think that, there's like, I've heard a saying, like, oh, it's a metaphor. Like, if you're laying on your leg and your leg hurts, but it doesn't hurt enough for you to move it, then like, what's the point? Or it's like if I have a headache, but it didn't hurt bad enough for me to take some type of pain reliever. So it's like there's a situation in my life that I'm not happy with that maybe registers as pain or something close to it, but it doesn't hurt enough for me to change anything. And then it's like the other aspect of that is, yeah, that would be nice, that would feel good, but I don't want to do it. It's not that great. Like it's not that pleasurable. The end result is, but the path is not. So for each person, you know, every decision is kind of like, what is it more of? Is it more pleasure or is it more pain? And which do I feel like tolerating more than the other? So it's like if you come from a really poor neighborhood or upbringing, you might, and this isn't the only way, you might find yourself motivated by the pain of poverty to get out and do something because it hurts, or maybe because you want pleasure. Maybe it doesn't hurt, but you've tasted the pleasure and now you want the pleasure. Or maybe you got used to it. I mean, I don't know, but like I think about the amount of pleasure that I've experienced so far over the course of my life, and I think that I've experienced not absolute pleasure, but I've experienced a point of pleasure where I had to ask myself like, what's the point of the pleasure? Or what's next? Or that's dangerous because like it's been so good that I can see how if somebody experiences that type of pleasure, it can drive them to do extreme things. So like whether they've tasted that pleasure or not, if they know about it, will they pursue it? And then after you get it, it's like there's moments of euphoria, but once it goes away, it's almost just like pain. Like if you've ever found yourself hungover and you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm never gonna drink again," or maybe you've had food poisoning, or I don't know. I mean, you tell me what it is that you've done that that was really, really not pleasant. But as soon as it went away, maybe not as soon, but at some point it goes away far enough for you to be like, that hurt, but the pleasure is worth it, worth the risk. So you go for it again, or you don't. But even still, I don't really want to focus on the pursuit of the pleasure. I don't want to focus on weighing the options between risking it and not risking it for whatever it is, whether it's worth the attempt. But there's like a dullness that sets on outside of achievement, outside of success. I remember I used to know a young lady that I talked to, and she wanted to be a professional makeup artist. And I remember I was talking to her about it, and she was explaining about how that is her sole focus, almost that's her life purpose. So I asked her, what do you think about after success? And I don't remember what she said, but she let me know that success was her only focus. Making it was her only focus. She didn't think about after that. I'm not here to tell anybody that they should or should not think about after success, but if you want to, I think it's worth the thought because once you figured out, once you have a pretty good idea of who you are and what you want, especially the more simple it is, the more simple you are, and the easier it is to achieve your goals. If you genuinely enjoy those goals that you achieved and they were not that difficult, like I mean, they required some challenge, but maybe not compared to something else. I think you'll come to a point where you're like, what's next? And I'm not saying, I can't say that anybody or everybody is going to have the same conclusion on what they feel about is going to be next. But I mean, you know, the pleasure of a goal, even if the pleasure of the goal is escaping the pain, there's always an after effect. So it's like when you feel the after effect, I think you have to reassess everything that's important to you. But it's not to say that you don't completely enjoy those things anymore, but you don't have the same philosophical stance that you once had. And since you've experienced it enough times, you don't appreciate the experience as much or in the same way. It's like you can have a favorite food, but no matter how much you like it, eventually you're not going to want to eat that same dish. You're going to want something different. And I think your greatest pleasure is like that. And then after you find that, like after you reach that pleasure, that success, that goal, you're going to be forced to re-examine your situation and your overall goal. I don't know how long it'll take for anybody to get there, but it makes me think about what's next in my life, and it makes me think about what's my motivation, what's my purpose, because in many ways I've been validated. Like, I've been validated socially, I've been validated emotionally, I've been validated in many different ways. But that isn't to say that those moments that I choose to recognize as validation are eternal. Like I still don't like many things about myself, even though I've been socially validated. Like someone say, "Oh man, nice dreads," but I've seen people with better dreads that I'd rather have their dreads, or you name it. Um, Maybe I've had an emotional connection with somebody, but even then, that emotional connection only takes me so far because there's more to life, and I can't stay in the same place forever. But anyways, it's coming up on 9 minutes here, so I got to find a way to close this. I mean, if I were to try to sum up what I think this whole video is about, I guess I'd say that it's about finding your purpose, and the purpose isn't necessarily something that gets you paid. I think it's just something that's worth living for, something that's worth chasing even after the pleasure is gone. And I think that evolves with each person over time as they ascend the psychological hierarchy of needs. And I'm not educated in that field, so y'all, if there's something new, don't judge me too harshly for not knowing about it. But anyways, motivation, or excuse me, motivator success, and what's next. See if anybody likes this.